Best.Podcast.Ever is sponsored by the Gertzberg Law Firm, a full-service business law firm in Cleveland and Chagrin Falls that's changing the way businesses retain their attorneys. Go to gertzberglaw.com to learn more. While you're there, check out Cover My Six, a complete legal audit of the 6 areas that most often create or prevent business lawsuits and government investigations. Go to covermysix.com to learn how we keep you safe. Enjoy the show.
Ladies and gentlemen, you're about to listen to the best podcast ever recorded.
One of the things that I've also said is that, I'm not only trying to teach students, right, but I'm teaching them to be able to survive a pandemic.
Let's just jump right into it, shall we? Because I know, speaking just for you guys, that you actually have work to do and people to see and take care of. I have questions, some of which came from our non-studio audience. So let's start. Everyone knows who you are. You're amazing human beings. No introduction is necessary. In a second, we're going to be talking for a long time about how awesome your students and your teachers and staff are. But I don't want to start there because I feel like I got to force you guys to talk about yourselves because you're not going to want to. But I want to talk about you first. So I want to start with Molly, and then I want to go to Nancy, and then I want to go to Bob, Dr. Hunt, and I want to know how you guys are doing. How are your families? How's your health? How's your mental health? Your physical health? Molly, go.
Well, mental wasn't there to begin with, so, we can't judge on that. We're super busy. We're work-wise, super busy, like beyond busy, just trying to keep these small businesses supported and afloat. I literally shoveled down a lobster roll from Lemon Falls, and they were about 6 cars deep. Super long line because there was a big shout out for them needing desperate help yesterday on social media. Family's good. Emily did get COVID. That was a little tough as a mom to have to be home and not be able to take care of your baby girl when, she has something like that, but she's a trooper and she's good. And Samantha is, working super, super hard on getting a new school, is her new school. She's going to be the principal in Westlake of Julie Billiard. Oh my gosh, literally, as I speak, Julie Billiard is calling me. And she's working hard getting that school up and going. It won't start till 2021, which is perfect for her because she gets to let all the other school systems kind of go through all these hiccups and she gets to learn from it. And so we're super proud of her. And then John started a new job as well. So he is at Ganley Chevy of Aurora. So there's lots going on at the Gebler house. Lots. And then the babies are perfect.
Awesome. Awesome. Nancy, how are you?
Okay, thank you. And so a couple things. First of all, thank you, Molly. Big shout out to Lemon Falls, my dear friend Jimmy. Certainly wish him well. I frequent all the time. And shout out to your husband for Ganley Chevy. I mean, of Aurora. They're a great supporter. I know of both Bob and of Chagrin schools and Kenston schools. And the other thing is, I've so enjoyed hearing and watching some of the grandkids on the videos that you've posted. And I truly, my heart went out to your daughter with the COVID, but I loved how both of you handled that with such, fun and humor. So identifying her meals and the like. So I've enjoyed following along with your family. And Alex, I have to, my girl Maya, I'm telling you she's a rock star. She's been doing a great job. And I just love visiting with her. Just really has been outstanding. So I wish you could see her during the day when she's here at school because she's an excellent student.
What grade is she in?
She's in first. And when Mrs. Santilli pops into Maya's classroom and says hello to Maya, it is like the 4th of July and Disney World and her birthday all rolled into one. Daddy, 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 you won't believe it. Oh my goodness.
Yeah. So going back to how I am.
Yeah.
That's important. That's how it is for me when I go into the classrooms, and I'm sure Bob feels the same way. This has been truly a different time and not an easy one. And the anxieties are high, the stress levels are high. It's tough to go through. And for me, my family's doing well. My granddaughters are also at a school where they're on a full remote and have been. And so I've kind of watched them go through some of this and, by them discovered where maybe some of those gap areas were, just looking at them. But otherwise, we're hanging in there and everyone's doing well. And we're just, following all the protocols that we need to follow and hopefully just, staying healthy and just kind of getting through this tough time.
Yeah. And Alex, as if we did not think of these two as heroes of ours last year when we met, as if we needed enough to put them on our pedestals higher, they are knocking it out of the park.
Oh, agreed. We're going to drill down into that, Molly.
Yeah,
you're
I know. Right. I know we are.
Dr. Bob, I was thinking the other day, if I caught the coronavirus, I would want everybody to know about it. And then look what happened. How are you?
I'm doing well. Thank you. Yeah, that was unexpected for sure.
Are you feeling good now?
Yeah, I'm feeling better. Good. Better. Some lingering things, but in the scope of what people have had to deal with COVID, I feel pretty fortunate and lucky.
Yeah, good. Your family's doing well, Bob?
Well, I've got my youngest in quarantine right now, just because he was around another student that was asymptomatic. But yeah, by and large, everybody's healthy, everybody's well, and I feel very, very blessed for sure.
Good. Well, I'm glad that you're okay. Okay, so I've got questions, and you guys, to remind everyone, all the kids at home, Nancy and Bob are graciously donating their time here for questions, and we have talked about almost nothing about this, right? So I was actually kind of thinking that if I was one of you guys, I would actually, Molly and I force you to think on your feet here, even more so than you already are at school, and these rapid fire questions, unplanned. So let's just, start the conversation. I've got some have come in from the folks at home, but and Molly, obviously, just throw in any that you think of, and I know you will. But here's my first one. I guess I want to do a kind of a status check, because it's my understanding that Kenston went from going all in, meaning in person, to now going all virtual. Chagrin, the plan was to do the opposite, go from a hybrid to going all in person. And I think at one point you guys put a pause on that while you waited for more data from the state. The data came in. Where does everything stand right now and for the foreseeable future in each of your school districts?
Well,
yeah. Go ahead, Bob.
It's 1:42 p.m., so a lot can change while we're on call. So I'll give you a status as of right now. So we opened in hybrid for all of our students, and a variety of reasons for doing that, and remained in hybrid until early November. We brought back our K-6, all of our students in early November, late October, early November. And then on Monday of next week, our 7 through 12 students will be going remote, and they will stay remote for a week after the holidays to give a little bit of a grace period after New Year's if there's any spread. And our K-6 are going to remain in until the 18th, and then they're going to take that remote pause as well. And hopefully January 11th, we're going to bring students back. We will bring, if we can bring students back, we'll bring all of our K-6 in. I don't know what we are going to do with the 7-12 as of yet. I don't know Nancy's cases specifically, but the vast majority of our cases are the highest percentages at the 7-12, the older kids. And obviously the second group is our virtual students. So you figure that out. So that's where the most of the issues from a student perspective are. And I think, like Nancy, it's really not a student case issue that's the problem. It's a staff issue. It's our capacity to staff. Last Friday, I think we had 24 staff members, either COVID positive, on quarantine, or having symptoms. And, for a small district, 24 people, and I don't remember the numbers, maybe 15 of those are teachers. You're doing a lot of scrambling in a subpool that is very, very thin, because most people have either been hired or they're just, taken. So a lot of our reasoning for kind of putting this, what I'm calling a pause in place, is a little bit of recovery time, and hopefully get everybody, back to a place where we can gear back up and bring out all of our students.
I have a question about that. How do you can't tell staff what they can do once they leave your campus. But saying that, you have to have some sort of comment, because their behaviors after school can affect your children. So how is there laws in place to help you tell them, listen, you can't be partying and stuff? Not that they're partying, but you know what I mean? Like, how do you do that? How do you guide that?
Yeah, I think it's the same as we message to our students and our community. We quickly found out that what happens in the school is a reflection of what's going on in the community. For a long, long time, numbers were really, really low. And, we took that time more to practice our procedures, look at our protocols. We were in that 6 feet of space, and probably were a little more conservative. And, at some point, cases started to show up here. Chagrin was no longer kind of immune from this. And once those cases started to come, it's been very difficult. But in terms of messaging the staff, it's the same as community. We are going to be as successful as you are in terms of implementing the practices and protocols. And that's the reality of our situation. So, yeah, I can't chase them around. I can't ask them what to do. I think by and large, everybody's doing the best they can. And the other thing, maybe getting COVID, it was, there's some, I always look for what's the opportunity, what I learn. We were pretty darn conservative as a family because of my son's condition. My older son qualified for the state cross country meet. We went down there, I had masks on, around a lot of people, went out to lunch, came home. And that's the only thing we can identify even possible, is that sometime in that experience it happened. So it's, even people that are trying really hard can get this. So it's not always a reflection of somebody that went out and had a rager on a Friday with, 100 people.
Right.
Some of this is just the scary, way that this spreads so quickly and easily.
Nancy.
I think Bob's absolutely right. The message to our community and to our staff is the same. It isn't, I don't feel as though it is under my jurisdiction to, tell staff what they can and can't do. What I do know is that our staff has been very responsible in the sense that they don't want to impact their colleagues. They don't want to have an impact on the students in their classroom. They want to be here as well. And so similar to Bob, we talked all through the summer and, all the planning and going back and forth with, what are you going to do? What are we doing? And schools and communities all have their nuances to them. One of the things that I'm very proud of is that we were able to get back we started the school year, and, we had 14 weeks of in-person learning that was substantial for our students, as it always is. And, same thing, we started looking at the overall building operations and what do we need to do. And when your numbers start going up, that's where we said, for me, I don't want that to be an emergency call, where all of a sudden I don't have my bus drivers and I can't transport students, or I can't cover classes with the protocols that we put in place. So we started looking at those trends of where our staff, where they were with regards to having to quarantine or their own personal illnesses or their responsibilities with their families. And that's why we made the call to go remote when we did. We could have maybe pushed that a little bit further. But again, then it's kind of the fire drill first thing for parents and in the morning with kids. And I just didn't want to be in that situation. I also didn't want to compromise the integrity of our academics. And so, when we start now having to combine students or fill in with too many, people like me covering a class, is that the best thing? And so we looked at it like we also had built in a pretty strong remote plan. And so we knew at some point we might have to put that in play. And when we did, it would be, the best interest for students learning at that time. So that was a strong focus for us too, is how do we continue, the high level of learning that we wanted.
Well, that brings me with a Facebook question from Steve Crandall, who asked, would you like to see it the same across the board with all school districts? That this is how everyone's going to do it, or do you like the fact that you have the ability to make your own decisions in your own school districts?
I think for me, it's it's kind of lonely at the top, right? So it's frustrating from the standpoint when all the schools are doing something different, but there's also the recognition that you do have a community that, is you're responsible for, but that's their home. These are their children. And so there are nuances to each of them. And for as excellent as one school district is, another one's just as excellent, but they may be very, very different in what their community needs are. So at first, that flexibility of, the decision's going to be on each individual school was frustrating. But I think as time went on, we quickly found out that we do need to have some of that local decision and schools operating, the way that they need to best serve their community and their students.
Yeah, I would go, and I had a lot of frustration with not so much the flexibility and choice to work with your board and your community, more along the lines of the recommendations from a health perspective. It felt like no one really wanted to be really firm and direct about what we should do, and the needle kept moving. So we're trying to create these plans. Is it 3 feet? Is it 6 feet? If it's now, it's strive for 6 feet. So all of that really was stressful because it's all out there and people latch on or they read one thing and they think you're doing something wrong. And I've never been one I don't think there's a lot of good matrix to compare schools because they're so unique. And this is certainly not one where you should compare what X school is doing versus Y school. One, it's a community expectation, it's community understanding, it's the amount of spread that's in the local community. But there's nuts and bolts pieces like square footage. How big are your facilities? How much space do you actually have to accommodate in this environment? And all of that plays into it. So I agree with Nancy, the conversation, I get a lot from thinking about the rationale of why people are doing things, but it's a very intimate decision that needs to be made locally.
Yeah.
And there's a respect for those decisions. And Bob and I communicated often, and, there were days where I'm going, okay, well, why would you do it this way? Or he would say, well, what are you going to do next? Those things, there's a respect for the rationale and the reason that you have to make those decisions, again, to best serve, the needs that your individual district has. And so I agree with you. It was frustrating from maybe a health standpoint where, just give us the floor plans, right? Just tell us what we need to do. But it's also something that's evolving for everyone every day. It changes. I mean, we started this conversation by saying, today we're doing this. It could change again. And I think that that's something that I would continue to ask the community for, is just, an understanding of the need for that flexibility, and also the need to just have that grace to, care for one another and make sure that we recognize it's a very fluid situation, still is today.
So, Molly, did you know that Kenston and Chagrin Falls school districts both have a dashboard, a real-time dashboard that you can go to and see how many exposures they've had?
I didn't know that. I do get the Chagrin Falls email daily with updates on that. I should probably subscribe to Kenston as well to be in the know.
Well,
but what I also didn't know, Alex, is that you have a wedding ring on.
No, it's on my right. It's on my right.
Okay, all right. I didn't know if we were flopped. Okay, forget it.
No, here's what it is. It's one of those Oura rings that tells you all these metrics. See, it's got these little. You can tell there's these little sensors in here. It tells me like 30 different things about like how I sleep and how I work out and stuff. But thank you for noticing, Molly.
Yeah, I'm sorry, I got thrown there for a minute.
That is both a testament to your ADD and your attention to detail.
Thank you very much, everyone.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. But here's why I bring up the dashboard, Molly. So I actually I have 3 kids in Nancy's school district, and it was only in preparing for today's podcast that I realized there was a dashboard. So that shows you how parent of the year.
But you read your emails?
Jeez, no, I do. I read every email from Nancy, and by the way, thank you, Nancy. I mean, so on the ball. Any piece of news, I get an email. But here's what's fascinating about these dashboards, right? They're kept in almost real time, right? Almost like within a 24-hour period. So I try to do the math, which is always a horrible, horrible mistake. But Kenston has had 29 student cases and 7 staff cases since August 31. Okay, according to its dashboard. Kenston has 1,700. Is it 1,700 students district-wide, Nancy?
23.
23. Well, see, my research is horrible too. 2,300 students. That's just students. Now add on top of that faculty, transportation, teachers, lunch people, right? So that's hundreds more, right?
Like 300 and some. About 380.
Yeah. So like 2,700, close to 3,000 people that that make up Nancy's sort of world, right? And Chagrin, I'm going to guess wrong, but I know it's over 1,000 students, right, Bob?
Yeah, your 1,700 was closer to me. We're a little over 7.
Yeah, see. So 1,700 students. Did you say 1,700 students? My internet connection sucks. And another, hundreds of staff. Only 46 student cases and 23 staff cases since August 1. So I'm not going to do the math, but I would say report card wise, that's like an A+. I mean, that is a very small number relative to the total number of humans that interface with each other every single day for the last 5 months. That's amazing. That's amazing. So with all of that said, thank you, first of all, for keeping us safe and for everything that you've done to keep those numbers as low as they are. But secondly, I'd like you to finish this sentence. If I knew then what I know now, I would have blank. So I want to put you guys on the spot here, right? Because I've been thinking about it, right? Because you went into August, into school starting, with just a ton of question marks everywhere, right? You had about 6 months of COVID, you had the end of last school year, you had the summer to think about it, but it was still just so many unknowns. So you went in, you did the best you could. My opinion, you knocked it out of the park, right? But still looking back on the last semester, if you knew going in what you know now, would you have done anything differently?
I would have brought my K6 in earlier. I
Say that again, Bob.
I would have brought all our K6 students in earlier. I still would have opened the hybrid just to practice, make sure everybody felt comfortable and safe. But I would have brought my case based on now what I've seen in data, looking at, not only do I look at our data, but I watched Kenston's data too. They're all in. Let's see how it plays out there. So I would have brought our K6 in sooner. I'm not sure on 7/12, and not because of cases, just the quarantine issue that we run into at the secondary level. I mean, we were upwards of almost 90 kids at one point just because of quarantine, and that really creates issues with kids coming and going and managing all of that. So that I definitely would have brought K6 in earlier.
I don't know that there's anything different in terms of like, oh, well, this is the magic that would have made a huge change. I'm going to tell you the real human emotion side of this is the stress and anxiety, the worry is there every single day. And that's kind of from my heart. I worry about kids getting sick. I worry about staff falling ill every single day. And so I think for me, it's just more of that, would you stress the protocols more? Would you take a little bit more time to explain the importance of why we have to have this buy-in to things? Because it is a struggle. And I attribute that to, and I know I speak for Bob, the same in Chagrin. I work with a great team here, and we spend many, many hours, where we listen, hey, what do you think? Are we doing the right thing here? And it wasn't that any one of us had all the answers or, the foresight to be able to say, this is what's going to work. It was more, we have to work through this. And what we needed to do was kind of keep a strong directional system in place to say, why are we doing this? We're going to do what's best for the students here. We're going to do what's best for the staff here. And we're going to keep, our goal had to be keep education going. Because if I got caught up in too much of the outside noise of you shouldn't do this or you should be doing this, or the news media changes something every day, I would have become paralyzed in, kind of like pulling that trigger to say, we're going to just keep operations going. Because I don't think there's any right answer. There's no magic other than you have to have strong protocols in place, and you have to have people buying in, and you have to keep your eye on the prize, which is, our goal and our job is here to, educate students. And so how are we going to do that with the set of dynamics that we've been given? And that was a lot of our team discussion is, how do we make this happen? Because everybody still to this day has different opinions. So yeah. I knew going in, there was always somebody that was not going to be happy with one of the decisions. And so, what was going to drive me to make the best for this organization had to be at the forefront.
Yeah. Were there any times in the last semester, I want to get a little personal with you guys here. Was there any point where you felt like, I just wish, this would have been different, or I just, was there any point at which you felt like it was just like either blindsided or just kind of something else out of left field that you just couldn't get your arms around? Any kind of like just emotional sort of peaks, either high or low, that kind of came at you during this semester totally out of the blue?
I'll take this one for Bob, not to monopolize this, but people that know me, I do have, I've been like on this roller coaster ride, right? And so a lot of times, what do I do to center? I go into Maya's class and I, touch base again with the students, and that always seems to be the center for me. There were times when you say, are there any times? Every single night. If you talk to my family, it's like, was this the right decision? Or something else catch you on the news where you go, oh no, I better pay attention to that. But I think for me, it's, again, I go back to my team where they did see sometimes, emotion, where you're just going, I don't know how much longer any of us can do that. And that's where the team kind of helps to pick one another up at the time, so I rely on that support from them, for them to say, you know what, stick with this, be a courageous leader. We're doing the right thing. But every day, Alex and Molly and Bob, I know, felt the same way. I worried every day and still do. That you'd wait till the end of the day. Fridays were a victory for us every single week to go, okay, another one down. We did the right thing this week. So I don't know if that's going to change, but I don't think that people realize how much of your heart goes into that. And again, I know Bob might not admit it, but I know I speak for him on that one too.
Yeah, I mean, it has no question been the most stressful personal and professional time. Probably not personal. I've been through some things, but certainly professionally, the most stressful time. And people, people who have an opinion believe everybody thinks the way they think. They don't realize whenever they're happy, we're getting punished from the other side, verbally, emails, voicemails, anonymous things, and every decision you make. And then you try to carry that load because your teachers are stressed beyond belief too. They're teaching in a whole new environment. They've got all the mitigation around them. They've got all of that stress. So you try to take at least that piece on so they don't deal with the anger and the divisive nature of these decisions. But it certainly can take a toll. I think a low, honestly, when I made the decision I had to announce I had COVID, that was a bad day. It just was, it's just, I felt like I'd been through the war already, and it's just one more thing. So that was probably one of my lowest days in all of this was that probably just physically didn't feel good. And then the fact that I got it, I'm preaching to everyone about putting these precautions in place. Please practice them at home. And I'm now faced with a decision with my personal medical information. Do I want to keep it personal, or do I want to publicly share it? What's the right decision there? And working through that was stressful.
How was the community with that announcement? I'm sure there was an outpour of love. Was there an outpour of, hey, you hypocrite, and all that kind of, since there's always that back and forth between things? As much as I, thought that would come, it didn't at all. Not one negative. I think everyone was worried and concerned and supportive and asked what they can do. And same from, Nancy and my colleagues. So that was great. And then on an upside, it's kind of one of the upside, but also realizing how different things was. And it's a crazy moment. I was in the Gurney. When we brought all kids back, it was over at Gurney, which is our elementary building, in the cafeteria. And I'm just watching all of these kids eat with these dividers around them. They're pulling their masks down. And it's just this weird environment of how did we get here? This is not normal. It's surreal.
It's surreal. But yet I'm so happy the kids are there and they're seeing each other and being able to interact. And then the change happens, and I see teachers come from nowhere, not their job, certainly not their job. They're pulling dividers off. They're spraying down tables. It's just like this all hands on deck moment because it's what we need to do for kids. I just never really felt more proud. I mean, kind of a silly moment, but one that really resonated and sticks with me as a high.
Yeah.
Well, and I got to say, I mean, we have, as a country, as a society, during this time, have really rallied around first responders, as we should, right? And around, the frontline medical workers, as we should. I just don't think that we say thank you enough to the teachers. I mean, they're out there in front of hundreds they've got hundreds of interactions every single day with different people. And I'm so thank you to all the teachers that are listening, and to Nancy and Bob. You guys are educators, and so just kind of accept our gratitude on behalf of your teachers. But I would like to ask you a question about that, right? Like, so obviously they want to teach. They just want to teach. That's what they signed up for. They didn't really sign up for anything else, and they're stepping up, and they're coming in, and overwhelmingly the message that I'm getting from my friends that are teachers and is, no, we want to do right by the students and their parents first and foremost, right? But what are their concerns and fears and worries? What are you guys hearing from them about, other than what I just said, other than wanting to do the right thing? What are you hearing from them about their concerns day to day and their experiences day to day?
I'll go quick, Nance. I think, first of all, our teaching staff is like the general public, and everyone is at a different place with this. Every opinion is in our teaching staff as well. There are some people in our teaching staff that said, you need to be all in, we need to get in. And then there were staff members that couldn't believe we'd consider coming back even in hybrid. So you've got all spectrums. But I think the commonality of whatever the environment is, it's the student and the kids. And that holds true. And we're fortunate, I think, in both of our districts to have staff that serves as the driving factor, and they'll do what they want to do. They're able to kind of process their personal emotions and say, okay, I'm going to put that in a little box right now, and I'm going to do what I have to do. So I've seen a tremendous amount of resiliency. It doesn't mean people love everything. I mean, I've got staff that, are not happy with the remote and not happy we didn't extend longer in January. So there's people that are, not happy with every decision, just like there's community that's not happy. But by and large, when we put that behind us and we decide it's time to move forward, it's all about the kids. And they've just got a tremendous amount of resiliency and creativity. I've jumped in a few of these Zoom classes. So you got 12 kids or 13 kids in a room, and you got 10 kids online. To watch our teachers go back and forth and think about, everybody thinks this is easy. Turn on the camera, start teaching, move on. It's a completely different world. And they have embraced and done amazing things in the environment. So like you, I think, I think they should be recognized more. And, here's my soapbox, Alex, for all the things you can get done in the world. They should be right after the first responders and healthcare workers in terms of vaccines. There's no conversation about where they should fall in terms of getting the vaccine. And I think they need to be right up there on the list.
I agree with that. And like Bob, I couldn't be more proud of our teachers. I think there's a lot of things that we can, learn. There's things, even with the technology or just a different way of teaching, they've stepped up. They've really taken on a lot of their own personal professional development to do that. They do put the best interest of the students first. And from day one, I have to give a shout out. I've done this many times publicly, but, we have our teachers union president, Charlotte Groover. She has been unbelievable. And I know she, like the rest of us, felt the brunt of some of the decision making that was going on. But, we were committed that we were all in this and that we needed to work together. That, I could write up the best plans and the best, protocols to do things. But if we weren't getting the buy-in that, we were going to, work through this together, then it just didn't go right. It was just another thing they could throw a stone at. And I think our teachers have just been really just outstanding in the face of all this adversity. And they're just as afraid. It's no different to me. I have a brother who's a surgeon. My family's in the healthcare. It's no different than, the healthcare workers that are going in and facing this in the hospital setting too. They're going, what's going to happen today? And I think our teachers, there's an element of that every single day. And so I agree. They just have to be commended for the great work and for recognizing that their job is to help students, and they're doing it in outstanding ways in difficult times. And to me, I much would prefer teachers to be there for student engagement, to get to know their students, to help their students through these troubling times, because kids are feeling these emotions too, than focused on, I have to do this in the curriculum. If they're making that connection right now, to me, that's the number one goal that teachers can do and are doing.
Not to mention their home life. Not only are they teaching kids, they've got their kids home if they have kids. So you've got that whole dynamic that they have to now balance. It's kudos. I don't know how they do it, honestly.
Are you guys finding that? So I'm thinking back to so when I was in Iraq, you saw stress levels go up during mission time, and you kind of had to be, as a leader, in a position to step back and manage the mission, but also manage the stress levels at the same time, which are always spiking. And I'm imagining that among the teachers and the cafeteria workers and the bus drivers and the custodial staff and everybody else, right, that this new world has to have created more anxiety and more stress. And so I'm wondering if, A, you guys are seeing it, and B, if so, how you and they are dealing with it.
Yeah, I think everyone has an acceleration of stress to some level, and I think that we're going to be dealing with some level of post-traumatic stress on the other side of this. In reality, we talk administratively in our team from kind of a leadership perspective. Part of our job, it's actually a concept in psychology. It's called holding. Part of our job is to kind of interpret what's going on and don't give false hope. We talk about everything's going to be perfect tomorrow, but give these little benchmarks of, if we can get here, it's a success. And one of the things I know I need to constantly remind myself is, you've got to celebrate even minor successes, little achievements along the way. You have to celebrate. Nancy talked about it, 14 weeks of in-person instruction, and I've seen some of the things she's put out. She's talked about that. That is a real success, because people need to feel good about their efforts in this environment. But I think there's an underlying level of stress for everyone, and certainly there are certain individuals where it's very high, and we know who those folks are, and we try to keep an eye on what we can do to support and intervene.
And I think that's where I made the comment about, let's ask for a little bit of grace for one another, for all of us. The parent calls that we're getting, the things that we're getting, they're much more aggressive, right? And you see the stress levels that come out because people are lashing out. I want to share with you on, when we went remote, I went into the buildings on the Friday that we were, not coming back on the Monday, and went to all the classrooms. I'll admit it, I came back and shut my office and cried. Very sad to see the students. They didn't want to go home. They wanted to be here. One little girl raised her hand when I went in the class, and she said, "Mrs. Santilli, I have a question for you." And I said, "Oh, what's your question?" And she said, "Do you promise that you're going to bring me back here in January?" And she said, "Can you promise me that you'll bring me back?" And I said, oh, honey, I can't promise you. I said, but I'm going to do everything I can to make sure you're back here. And I think that's what we have to look at is there just is this need for them to be here and for our teachers to feel supported. And it is, there's a lot of underlying stress. And I think sometimes, for me to even walk into the classes or to get some of that feedback, you'll see that in any good organization, right, we kind of pick each other up along the way. And I think sometimes that's what's happened. I know, from my administrators, we can sense when maybe one needs a little bit more support that day. And I think the teachers are the same, and they're doing that with students. But again, I can't stress enough that these are just trying times, and it's time to pull together and make sure that we love one another and make sure that we're caring for one another. And it's just not an easy situation. So yes, the mental health, the stress, the anxiety, whatever label you want to put on it is there. And we have to work together to persevere. One of the things that I've also said is that, I'm not only trying to teach students, right, but I'm teaching them to be able to survive a pandemic. And that's an important piece, right? We're all in this. This is a pandemic. We have to help each other get through it.
Yeah.
What about the students? Are you concerned about delays in education, delays in the social aspect of, my grandbabies are almost 2. They don't leave the house. We're starting to see some verbal delay in them. Although we work with them, they're still not out and about and hearing people chatter. It's just really my daughter, myself, and her husband. Are you concerned about some delays? And nothing against the teachers. I mean, it's a different world we live in. But do you feel that the remote may show some of that?
Well, first of all, Molly, you're doing a tremendous job with those little ones. I've heard them sing. So
yes, Mary can sing.
Mary can sing, that's for sure. I think I was more concerned with my own grandchildren, and I probably was a little hard on my son-in-law and my daughter, going, you have to do this every night and you better help them. And, there's going to be too big of a learning gap, and probably put a little more stress on them more than I should have. I think for me, one of the things that my team reminded me the other day was we're teaching them new skills too. We're teaching them the skills of resiliency. We're teaching them the adaptations, the things that kids need to be able to do. We were worried when, everyone was saying at the beginning, oh, you're never going to get these kids to wear their mask or whatever. Well, they are. We're teaching them some other very important skills. And so, yes, keep the learning going. But if there's some of those gaps, I think it's going to be okay. From our high school students, my principal told me the other day, there's almost like a personal learning that has to take place for students. There's a personal responsibility to their learning, and it's going to prepare them when they go on into the colleges or into a career, because they are learning new technologies. They are learning that they have to get on the call at the right time and be able to interact in a different way. And so I look at it like, yes, there may be some learning gaps, but we're also teaching them many new skills.
Yeah, I agree with everything Nancy said. I think, from a data achievement standpoint, when we looked at the data in the fall, our fall benchmark, we weren't too far off of where we were a year ago. So when we looked at that piece, I was actually relieved. And first of all, I worry about everything, Molly. It's like, that's how it goes right now. But as we kind of move towards the semester here, talking with staff, surveying staff, it's pace. It's like how much content they normally would get through that's behind. It's not really the depth of learning. And I think we all have to say, that's okay. If you just empower people to realize that it's a different environment and the pacing may be off. But it has to come secondary to an appreciation of the skills that Nancy talked about, and then the whole social emotional piece. How are these kids doing in isolation? How are we identifying at-risk kids? How are we intervening with them? That has got to be the priority, that relationship piece, the whole theme of this year, that when we rolled an open disconnected at Chagrin. And just because that is so important right now, whether it's through a screen or whether it's in person, that is the piece that worries me more than the academics. We're very fortunate to live where we do and have the resources and the programs that we have, that I think we can overcome those gaps. It's the long-term social emotional pieces that scare me.
It is true. I mean, I think this whole pandemic has been a constant reminder, whether you believe in the universe giving it to you, if you believe in a God giving it to you. I think it's a reminder to stop, slow down, and reconnect with what's super important in your life. And I think it's been a little bit of a blessing. Now, I haven't had it, but in my life, it's been a blessing to be able to have that time to just kind of regroup and connect with things that we may have lost focus on.
Yeah. Molly, to your point, so I read this book this semester in the last couple of months.
Here we go with the book reading again.
Well, here, I'm going to give you some perspective, right? So it came out a few months ago. It's called The Splendid and the Vile by Eric Larson. And it's about 1940 England, which was the first year of the invasion, right, by the Germans. And for an entire year, the entire country of England was in and out of bomb shelters, right? And just coming out and seeing their entire neighborhood looking like the surface of the moon, that is how they learned. That was their new normal for that entire year. And it really gave me a lot of perspective. This sucks. I mean, this is just not fun for anybody, but it is an opportunity to reveal your character. It is an opportunity to be grateful for things too. To your point, Molly, you see great leaders coming out. You see people taking care of each other. There's plenty of opportunity for perspective, for sure. Speaking of books, I want to do a very quick lightning round. I don't want to spend the entire time talking about COVID, but if the answers come through that are COVID related, they come through. But let's take the opportunity that we have to have my three of my favorite people talking to each other at the same time and being recorded. So 4 lightning round questions, right? Unless Molly comes up with more.
I'm too tired to do that.
I don't know. You say that now, Molly. All right, ready? Best book you read this semester? Molly, why don't you go first?
So cute. What a perfect question for me. Thank you, Alex. I'd have to say the one I wrote, which is 12 pages.
There you go. All right.
Yeah,
What's it called?
Shutsy.
That's right.
Yeah, about what goes from the hardware store. Yeah.
Yep. You may find it at your local Fireside bookstore or Dewey's ice cream store, right?
That is so true.
The popcorn shop, I should say. Yes, that was a very good book, Molly. Folks, you should buy it and read it. It's great. Read it to your kids.
Thank you, Alex. Thank you.
Nancy, what did you read this semester?
Well, I read that book as well, and it was excellent. So I so enjoyed them and enjoyed the illustrations as well.
Oh, she's amazing.
You know what? I can't even recall. Like, I've been so busy reading up on things. Most of it's articles, most of it's just snippets. And when I am reading, it's more just kind of this mindless pleasure reading. And so I can't even cite one that I'm going to be inspired by right now. And that's terrible because there's so many great books out there.
That's an acceptable answer, Nancy. We'll take it. Dr. Hunt.
Well, no, no.
Yeah, let me pull that one off here too. Wait, hold it up, Bob.
What was that?
I think we've talked about this before. I have an interest in crisis leadership. I've read articles and I've shared them with my administrative team. I have not even thought about trying to take on a book with everything going on. So
hold it up, Bob. Go ahead.
Nancy and I are co-reading this book right now.
Oh, a little book group, little book club.
Student learning communities, right? Social emotional learning. Yes. So we'll share them with you, Alex.
I was I want to say something, snarky and sarcastic about how fun those are to read, but I know they're important to read. So thank you for reading them.
I do have a book here. It's called The Christmas Story that my mom. So I do read this to the grandbabies. The Christmas Writer.
A lovely Christmas tree you got over your shoulder there, Molly.
Thank you, Alex. Thank you. Santa Claus these are his feet. He's stuck in the tree.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Definitely had to decorate it differently this year with the grandbabies. So the upper half is all ceramic and glass, and the lower half is plastic and edibles.
All right, we've got a special guest for the remaining.
We
got a special guest.
No.
There we go. This is our future Kenston student right here.
That just warms my heart right there, Alex.
Hi, buddy. You're fairy godmother.
Yeah, Molly's the fairy godmother to this little kid. This is Milo Gertzberger. Oh my goodness, would you stop it? All right. Hey, so settle down, Milo. We got 3 more questions to get through. Okay.
Oh my
God. Molly, ask your question. Your question is next.
I don't have any questions.
Yeah, you do. The binging question.
Oh, well, I know they haven't had a minute but I'll ask it. What are you binging?
Nothing.
My wife found this show called Blacklist.
Oh my gosh, that's a classic.
Blacklist?
Blacklist, yeah.
Especially how up to speed I am on TV. So that's really in the background when I get home, typically.
Have you guys done Schitt's Creek?
Say that again, Molly? I'm sorry.
Creek. Have you done Schitt's Creek?
Is that a show, Molly, or is that
it's a must. I mean, I rewatched it. Like, it just makes me laugh. It is so funny.
People swear by that show.
My husband, I go home at night and have all these good intentions to maybe, watch something. And so I get about 5-10 minutes in, and then I wake up at, later on, and he goes, "Do you want to know what happened?" So that's as far as I get.
I'm all Hallmark. Once I reach a date, I go all Hallmark, and we don't watch anything but Hallmark. So
one of my Hallmark's my favorite too.
Mm-hmm.
Nancy, I watch shows in 10-minute increments as well.
Yeah, I watch them through the back of my eyelids. It's okay.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Molly, did you watch the Crown, the last season of it yet?
I believe I'm 2 seasons behind.
Oh, you are? Really? I thought you were up to date on that.
I think so. And I did binge Filthy Rich, which has Chagrin Falls alumni Corey Cott in it. So I did binge that.
Okay. Did we get everyone's binges?
Were you Crown? Was that your answer?
The Crown is, I finished that. It was phenomenal. I love it. I love historical stuff like that.
Princess Di was involved in this one.
Yeah. It's really good. The one I'm watching right now, so Tiffany and I are almost done with Ratchet, which is the craziest show ever. You guys, if you remember, Nicholson was in that movie, One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, right? So this is about the nurse from that movie.
Ratchet.
Nurse Ratchet. It's bananas. It's the craziest. And so it's that one. And then I just started, I'm about halfway through that Queen's Gambit, which is pretty good. Okay. So you got to update us on the last time this question was asked. A habit or routine that you're currently doing that's giving you a lot of mileage.
Well, I'm trying to still continue with some workouts, not as much as I should. But again, I'm working with a wonderful trainer, Nathaniel from Omni Fitness, who just, looks at it like every day that you're moving and taking a step forward. It's a good day. You're not moving backwards. And so that's kind of what I've been trying to do, is just for my own stress levels, is just to go, okay, push myself. I don't do it as often as I should, but again, every step forward is a step forward.
Yeah, I would say the same with, in fact, this week on Wednesday is the first day I went back after COVID, just because I just didn't feel right. But I've been going early, which I hate getting out of bed, but it's the only way I get it done. And so even before that, event happened, I was going fairly regularly and hoping to continue that. So that's a good habit, because I just feel so much better, so much more alert, so much, better at work even. So that's a good thing.
And I'd say, Alex, I'm finding some joy in just the holidays. I'm a little more appreciative. I saw Molly's pictures when she put her tree up, and, in our own house, I went home one night and all the lights were on and things like that. And so I'm just really trying to just appreciate that a little bit more.
What about you, Molly?
I just got my bathroom redone, so I've been enjoying jacuzzis.
That's awesome.
I think it was midnight last night, and I was so tired, and I was like, you know what? It takes me no energy to fill the tub and sit in it, and I might as well do that. So I've been enjoying that.
That's awesome. I have been, the habit that I have that's giving me the most mileage is I'm trying to remember every time I switch activities, like whatever they are, even if it's just two different cases for work, just to stop and close my eyes and take like one good deep breath, like just a good mindful breath for like a couple seconds. And I got this app on my phone called Breathwork, which has different, it's crazy. There actually is a lot of science behind different breathing patterns, and like inhale for 4 seconds, hold, like the Navy SEALs have one in there. It's crazy. But anyway, that's my habit, is just remembering to take a mindful breath, and doing it in transition is like just the way I'm remembering.
I just have to remember to breathe in general. I have to say,
Right.
Hey, have you breathed today?
Right.
Have you taken a breath today?
Yeah.
All you have to do, Alex, is hold up that beautiful baby again.
Oh my gosh.
So
I'm going to
cute.
eat that. And it's not wearing one of my shirts. I made Milo several shirts. One, what was it? Mary and John's Bestie.
Yes.
Oh, cute.
Go Be Amazing.
Go Be Amazing is one. Gosh, what I can assure you, Molly, is that they are worn frequently and soiled.
I love that. And I have the best fairy godmother, I think.
You are the best fairy godmother.
I think the shirt says something like that.
Sure, maybe. Okay, ready for this last one. So this is a question that we've started asking at job interviews for people who want to come work for us.
Oh dear.
So silly. It's so stupid, but I love it. And we ask it not for the answer, but just to see what people's reaction is. Ironically, I got it from the guy who invented LinkedIn. I think on his podcast, he talks about this question. It's ridiculous, but okay. You are a salad ingredient. Which one are you and why?
Can I go?
Yeah.
Wow.
I'm the crouton because I'm on top.
I thought you were going to say something crunchy. I like it. I like it. Bob, Molly.
I was going to go with crouton, but not because I'm on top. I was trying to think, I really like the crouton. I look forward to seeing the crouton. It's like the best part of my salad. So I was going there, but that's the best I can do. Firm.
I'm going to go with a tomato because I'm plump and my insides are all like squirty and gooey.
Oh, I love it, Molly. That's a good one. Okay. I choose the dressing because it sweetens up the whole thing.
Oh boy!
Question.
Yeah. And it's generally bad for you. All right, guys. This was.
Can I ask one question? Can I ask one question? A holiday tradition. I'll start with, I continue, my mom started bed gifts, bed presents. And it was really, she was a single mom and she had 4 kids. It was really so she could get a little bit extra time in bed that morning of Christmas Day. So she would put a little present on our bed. And then when we woke up, all we could do was open those until she woke up, and that gave her a little bit more time to sleep in. And I did it for my girls, and then the grandbabies now get bed presents. So. What do you got?
So traditions are so important to me in our house, and something that I think is no matter what family you're in, just have something that becomes special to and unique to your family. We do so many, but one of the favorites for my granddaughters absolutely is making gingerbread houses with their papa. And so we got to a point where he originally was starting to help them, and was guiding them through. Well, now I have to do a gingerbread house for him to decorate because he became too obsessive about all of the candies and how it should look. So, but my granddaughters love it. And it's just so important for families to spend that time together. So I encourage everyone to make
what a perfect year to start a new one. Just something a little different. Dr. Hunt, what do you have?
So this one came from my wife, really, her whole childhood. Her dad did this, so we do it now with our kids. All 4 of them, we read the Bible verses of Mary and Joseph right before they go to bed and do the cookie thing. And it's just all that excitement, but it brings you back to what it's about, and it's just a pretty cool moment.
I love that. Maybe teary-eyed.
Mine, even though we're Jewish, is to pretend. We try to trick the kids into believing that Santa came down the chimney, and so the tradition is to put as many like footprints and just clues and notes and stuff around the fireplace, and then we usually leave a note from Santa. So, gosh, I hope Maya doesn't hear this. She won't. I don't know why she'd listen. Maybe she will. You know what? I'm going to make sure she doesn't hear this part. But yeah, or her friends. Hey, if you're one of Maya's friends, don't tell her. But we leave a note from Santa, and it's always like really personal, right? And very knowing, and she gets her every time.
I love that.
Yeah.
I bought a metal mailbox this year, and I have it out on my front porch, and the neighborhood kids put their little letters in, and I write them back, and it's just been so fun this year to do that.
Yeah.
Somebody gave me the Santa Claus. There's a number that you can call, and you get Santa Claus's voicemail box.
Yeah.
You can FaceTime. It's a free app now.
Well, they didn't think that, and I just told my granddaughters that I personally knew Santa, of course.
Yeah.
And so I called Santa and let them know that, then of course he returned their call. So
I love it.
Now, if I can help out in that regard, let me know. I have an inability to say no to Molly Gebler, so was put in a Santa suit last year. So I've
and a documentary, and what else have you done for me lately?
And he knows how to decorate trees, because we decorated a tree together.
You did. I remember. Did I host that?
Yes, you did, Molly.
Yeah, at Lowe's.
Yeah.
Gosh, we've all been together for a long time, haven't we?
Well, we're
Thanks for taking me out of retirement, Alex, for one day, one day only.
Thank you guys, man. I mean, my ulterior motive in all of this was to just get the gang back together, man. And I love talking to you guys. This was awesome. Thank you guys so much. And thank you for all that you do. I really mean it. I mean, I really appreciate what you guys do as leaders and as educators. And Molly, thank you so much for like being the conduit to the business community that you are, which is, I mean, that's a whole nother episode right there. We should have it actually.
I just had it this morning.
Yeah.
You can listen to that one.
Yeah. Yeah. It's an interesting time, needless to say, for everybody.
It is. Shop local, support local. That's all we can say.
Yeah.
Absolutely. But you've done a nice job of promoting that, Molly. So thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. We're having fun.
This you can chop out of the meeting, but I do want to tell you, thank you kindly. So the Gertzberg Law Firm, just wonderful. Alex had given me a reference, and just the professionalism, the sincere, respectful demeanor of the person that we worked with, and everything was just very, very helpful. And I appreciate that. My father's been having some health issues, and we've had to get some of his affairs in order. And so I'm very appreciative to you, Alex. Your referrals have been outstanding. So thank you.
Yeah, but thank you. I hope you guys are okay. I hope he's okay. I hope your family stays well. You too, guys. Bob, you were about to say something.
Oh, I have the similar phone call to Alex that I got the same. So it's consistent. You go to Gertzberg, consistent. So thank you, Alex.
And he started my business, got my business all up and going. So
with that, I don't take compliments well, so I'm gonna end here.
Although I did love, was this like a prayer hand?
I did thank you.
Okay, I did. Gosh, I did love it. I loved it for a minute.
That was close, Molly. You almost got me.
I know, I'm almost there. People, I'm almost there. Bringing the Lord to him.
Oh, my goodness. All right. Guys, thank you so much. Thanks for doing this. Thanks for everything that you do. God bless, in Molly's words, and have an amazing
be safe
weekend.
And be well, please.
Thanks, guys. Have a good one.
See y'all. Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We hope you enjoyed this episode, and we thank you for listening. And remember to check out the Gertzberg Law Firm. Whether you are starting, running, growing, or transitioning a business, or if you need to create or update your wills, trust, or estate plan, our team will give you an incredible level of personalized attention and a passionate commitment to meet your objectives. We are veteran-owned, and our award-winning lawyers have the highest ranking from Super Lawyers and Avo. We have also recently received the coveted Weatherhead 100 Upstarts Award for a second year in a row, and we are among the first Ohio business law firms to offer our clients a non-billable alternative on every single matter we handle for them, and opt out of the billable hour. What we are most proud of, though, are the many things our clients rely on us for. We successfully defend them in court, but we also help them avoid the courtroom with our Cover My Six service. We protect their assets through good estate and succession planning, and we assist our clients in many non-legal business services like recruiting and business development. We want our clients to feel confident in their choices and to help them resolve any issues or potential problems quickly and efficiently so they can get back to what they love, running their businesses. More than just litigators, we are trusted advisors, problem solvers, and growers of businesses. Let us help you and your company. Call us or find us online to learn more. Thanks again for listening. We'll see you next time.